Okay, Glasgow. Kí ni ìyàtọ̀ Glasgow àti England? This morning, Koikimedia is live from Glasgow. As much as it's also raining, we're trying to see if we can give you some kind of a quick broadcast just for the benefit of those at home that do not understand that what Britain did some almost 107 years ago by putting us together with Yami. So if you're looking at view, as much as it's also raining, I just want us to have an idea that Taban sọ̀rọ̀ nípa England, Scotland àti Wales. Ibi tèmi wà nísìn òun ni wọ́n ń pè ní Scotland. The only difference between each of these regions is they run their own independent parliament and they decide how their citizens will be governed. So in tó bá ń gbé ní Scotland, òfin Scottish ló máa fi govern, kò ń ṣe òfin England. Ẹ rí pé tó bá ń gbá football, wọ́n ní team tó ń pè ní Scotland, àwọn náà máa lọ represent ìlú wọn. Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni àwọn England náà máa lọ represent. Bẹ́ẹ̀ dẹ̀ ni àwọn Wales. But ẹ rí pé bí lè ṣe múra nísìn, ó ti show pé ọmọ Scottish ni, ìmúra tiẹ̀ nìyẹn, culture tiẹ̀ nìyẹn. Ṣé rí bó ṣe ń lọ yẹn nísìn, ṣé ti rí? Right? So, and báwọn ṣe múra ní agbègbè wọn nìyẹn, ṣé ti rí bó ṣe múra? So ó ti indicate pé ọmọ Scottish ni. Bẹ́ẹ̀mi náà bá wọ agbádá, wàá mọ̀ pé ọmọ Yorùbá ni mí. Bí Hausa bá múra, ẹ mọ̀ pé Hausa ni. Bí àwọn Igbo àbí Biafra bá múra, ẹ mọ̀ pé ọmọ Igbo ni. So kí wá ló dé tí wọ́n da gbogbo wa papọ̀ tó fi wá di pé after 107 years àwa ń béèrè pé kó tú wa sílẹ̀. Initially, it is not meant to be a one union, but because Britain was losing a lot of money ní 1914 era, wọ́n wá decide láti kó wa papọ̀. Àwọn tó wà ní ilé nísìn wọ́n wá dá ìyàtọ̀ kankan mọ̀. Now, University of Glasgow, òun ni mo gbé yín wá nísìn. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ wa máa rántí pé late Chief MKO Abiola had opportunity of a scholarship láti wá kàwé ní University of Glasgow. But tẹ́ bá rí nísìn, ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ẹ̀yin tí ẹ wà nílé, ẹ ní opportunity láti gba scholarship. Do you know why? Because scholarship yẹn ó ti wà lọ́wọ́ Fúlàní. Torí pé bó ṣe ní ọlọ́pàá ti Scotland, wọ́n ní ọlọ́pàá ti England, wọ́n wá tún wá ní ọlọ́pàá ti Wales. Tó bá jẹ́ pé Wales ni mo lọ nísìn, ọlọ́pàá wọn yàtọ̀ sí ti bíbáyìí, even though pé gbogbo wọn jọ máa interact. Orúkọ tèmi ni Ọláyọmí Kóìkì tí gbogbo wa mọ̀ sí Koikimedia. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ wa lẹ́tí mo máa gbọ́ Chief MKO Abiola, Chief MKO Abiola. Ǹjẹ́ yín mọ̀ pé ó kàwé ní bíbáyìí ní one of these brilliant university in Scotland, also called University of Glasgow. But ní 1993, Igbo, Yoruba àti Hausa wọ́n dìbò fún bàbá wa late Chief MKO Abiola. Àmọ́ àwọn Fúlàní ò fẹ́ jẹ́ kó débẹ̀ àtàwọn kọ̀ọ̀kan náà tí wọ́n jẹ́ foreigner wọn. And what happened was they eventually killed late Chief MKO Abiola, Kolonte Safefere. And that is why today after the 1993 election that we believe was the freest, fairest election ever had in that contraction called Nigeria. No election has ever been guaranteed. And now, if you look at this university, this is a university building. And you can just start asking yourself those questions. Start thinking. Start asking yourself, how come my generation, let me bring it back to my face. How come, and it's quite a bit rainy, so Jonro as well, so, but I want to bring it back to my face. So how come, babe, so many of you today did not have the same opportunity like those back in the days? Have you ever thought about it? Ǹjẹ́ ti ronú sí pé kí ló dé tí èmi náà ní opportunity tí bàbá wa late Chief MK Abiola tó ní? And right behind me was that university. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ yín èèyàn mélòó ló ní opportunity ka ìwé on scholarship base? Some of this university to sponsor you. But back in the days, Nigeria was sponsoring Nigerians to come and study more and return back to Nigeria. But today, none of you can guarantee a scholarship. So what you are now looking for is and lossy different university around the world, giving them all your credential, telling them how brilliant you are. Let them allow you to come and do your PhD in Canada, your PhD in Oxford, your PhD in all these universities around the globe. But have you never thought about it that Nigeria had the money, we had the wealth to sponsor millions of Nigerians to come and study right behind me, right? As you can see, right behind me. But that has not happened. But the only people that have that opportunity, I was watching, DJ Copy. I don't have a problem with her. But the question I'm asking her is, when she is talking about one Nigeria, but she has opportunity now to go and study maybe a PhD at Oxford University, and she's saying that she's going to be studying history. I hope she's going to understand that the history she's going to be learning will tell her that we are not Nigerians, and she can come back and tell all her followers that Nigeria is a crime scene. She might have the same opportunity like so many other people that have the wealth. But how many of you following DJ Copy, the daughter of Femi Otedola, that is currently here in UK and doing a PhD at Oxford University, which is one of the most very prestigious university that you can think of? But many of you will never have that same opportunity like DJ Copy. It doesn't matter how much you love her. It doesn't matter how much you appreciate what she does, according to the music and whatever she's doing. But if Nigeria was truly working, you don't have to envy her. All you just have to do is apply for a scholarship in your local government in Nigeria. But that is not going to happen. And you know that already. And that is why most of you will go inside their DM and you start telling them that I am well qualified. Why not tell your dad to come and help me to get a PhD done in UK? If you are a foreigner, right, you are going to spend nothing less than £20,000 to attend probably a master degree here in the United Kingdom. But if you're applying to study, let me move a little bit away, just find someone under that canopy. As you can see, that is the University of Glasgow. And you wonder, after so many years that they even killed Abiola, we can here now and show you an opportunity láti débi báyìí. But that is what Koikimedia does. We bring it as closer to you so that you can start resetting your brain, you can start asking those questions and asking yourself, why is it different? Ṣé èmi ni mo yàtọ̀ ni? Ṣé èmi ni problem ni àbí Nigeria? Who actually should we blame? Should we blame the Yoruba politician? Let me come now under my little bit of away from the, and let me turn the camera around and see if we can continue to show you that view. Once again, at least you can see the view. So now, ìbéèrè tí mo wá ń bi ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ń wò mí, University of Glasgow, òun ló wà níwájú wa, right? Mo ń bọ̀. How much is the ticket?
It's £16 for an adult.
16 for the adult.
Yeah.
So how far are we going to be going? Just round.
Yeah.
Can I pay with my card?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So what I'm doing now, 1 minute. Just give me. I might need to do a quick, just a quick movement of cash. 1 minute. I'm just going on the. Yes, it won't be long. Okay.
Is it for 1 day or 2 days? Just for today?
Just for today.
Yeah.
So mo ti lọ lórí intan cherry £16 ló fi gbà lọ́wọ́ mi nísìn. Can I? Huh? Okay.
There you go. Tap it out.
£16 ni mo san nísìn. But even though plan for later. For the whole day.
Yeah,
Okay, okay.
And then all your names and dates under there.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I appreciate. So now, sorry, 16. I don't pay me. Can you come and pay? £16 ni wọ́n gbà lọ́wọ́ mi nísìn láti lọ lórí hop and ride. Sorry, adult. Sorry, this is the kind of tourism that we are missing in the location 9. Àbí kò yé yín nísìn. Imagine èèyàn tó máa wá, èmi ti wọlé nísìn, wọ́n gba £16 lọ́wọ́ mi sórí Koikimedia yìí tẹ́ máa san owó yẹn padà. So now wọ́n wá fún wa ní oríṣiríṣi nǹkan tí a lè rí ní Glasgow, but ẹ jẹ́ ká lọ jókòó sókè. Ẹ jẹ́ ká lọ jókòó sókè. Hello. Ẹ jẹ́ ká jókòó sókè. Wow. Èmi náà ṣe tourist ní èmi àti kó tó di pé a máa rí Máyégún. Now, òjò tó ń rọ̀ ni ẹ̀yìn gangan ní ìbá jókòó sí, but òjò tó ń rọ̀ yẹn, but mo sì lè jókòó báyìí. Now, ìbéèrè tó yẹ kó máa wá bí rẹ ní sórí £16. So we definitely we know our viewers are good people and they will support us back on that. The only problem ni pé a ní lè gbọ́ nǹkan tó ń sọ àfi tí bá plug ẹ̀ mọ́ etí. But I just want us to understand that púpọ̀ nù wa àmọ́ ẹgbẹ́ torí nísìn pé orí bọ́ọ̀sì tí mo wà nísìn a máa gbé wa káàkiri, but normally ó yẹ kó máa sọ̀rọ̀ ni, but eléyìí ò sọ̀rọ̀, so máa ní láti plug ẹ̀ sí bí a ti bá wá fi sétí mi, èmi lè máa wá èmi á máa sọ tí bá ń gbọ́, so that tí bá ṣe ń gbọ́ èmi náà máa relay fẹ́yìn tí ẹ̀ ń wò mí. Orúkọ tèmi ni Ọláyọmí Kóìkì. Ara tourism tá à ń sọ nìyẹn o ní Nàìjíríà. Báwo ló ṣe fẹ́ ṣe tourism nígbà tí Fúlàní bá ń géèyàn lórí, tí Fúlàní ò bá fún yín lọ́kàn balẹ̀, and the whole day ni mo lè lo £16 yẹn, so that means throughout today gbogbo ibikíbi tí bá fi lọ lórí ẹ̀ màá kọ́ máa gun orí bọ́ọ̀sì yìí ni. Gbogbo ohun tí ó yẹ kí a ṣe tá a ṣe nìyẹn. Ẹ jẹ́ n gbé padà wá sójú mi. Let me bring it back to my face again. A máa gba call since mo ti wà lórí ìjókòó torí pé tá bá ń sọ̀rọ̀ tourism, but mo fẹ́ plug kìíní sétí. so that a lot of Nigerians do not even understand what is tourism. You think tourism is the one that your uncle come from America and you are driving them around. No, 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 that's not tourism. Tourism is when you pay to the service now, which is on £16, you see. So now what I'm going to do, where the people plug a little money on. Let's come this way. Let's come this way. You go lower than that. You will plug it, man. So what it's man. What up on you? Oh, to need different language, go. Oh, the different language. Oh, to sorry. Simulating. So, gbogbo tí bá ń wá ní ẹ jẹ́ kí n tàn camera. £16, you know, that will give us Glasgow institution. 1970. Wọ́n àwọn èèyàn chain ara wọn sí pub in tó ń sọ fún mi ni mò ń kà fún yín o. Wọ́n ní láti gbà yẹn wọ́n ní sórí bar pub tó ń wò yẹn wọ́n náà protest ní tenant bar láti ìgbà tí ó ti wà níbẹ̀ àwọn manager obìnrin ni wọ́n but wọ́n protest ní 1884. ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ yín. So let's open our phone line. Ká gba couple of calls. One thing a lot of Nigeria will never know is this is tourism. This is not the. We are now approaching Barrows Road, the heart of West End. Àwọn ìyá tí ń bínú sí mi pé ariwo mi fẹ́ pọ̀ díẹ̀ má wọrí. Èmi máa ń sọ̀rọ̀ but eléyìí inú etí la máa plug ẹ̀ mọ́. So Barrows Road ń la wà lórí ẹ̀ nísìn. Ẹ jẹ́ ká kúrò ní Nàìjíríà. It is not working and it is never going to work. So tabara interfere +447594050979. Ẹ jẹ́ ká gbọ́ látọ̀dọ̀ ẹ̀yin tí ẹ̀ ń wò wá. So Nigeria is a crime scene and a lot of people never know. So let us take a few calls. Kí ló ń pè máa ń ṣe? When we talk about tourism, can you have tourism in a country where there is no security? Is it possible to have tourism? Ó dùn mí pé ẹ lè gbọ́n kan tó ń sọ. Gbogbo nǹkan ló ń polówó. The only way out is just to break away now. It is not working. Gallery and museum. So turn the camera around. So, lára University of Glasgow náà ṣe ni. You have a caller. Hello, caller. Hi, Carol. Good morning, sir. Welcome to the program, sir. Eba Adasi. Abi. How are you, sir? Ṣẹ́gbọ́n. Agbára Ọlọ́run, agbára Ọlọ́run. Àmín, 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 àmín. 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 Bàbá wa máa jáde láìpẹ́. Àmín. 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 Ẹ ṣé gan ni. A gbọ́. Mo ti bá sọ̀rọ̀ láàárọ̀ yìí, àlàáfíà lẹ́yìn náà wà. Ẹ ṣé gan ni. Yoruba nation no going back. Fọ́pọ̀lọpọ̀ yìí tí ẹ̀ ń wà wọ́rí pé kí ni situation pẹ̀lú Lady K. Láwọn bá wa tú gbogbo sílẹ̀. Kelvin Grove Art Gallery and Museum òun là ń gbàgbẹ́ kọjá nísìnyí. Bí a ti bá máa fi padà again ní another round trip because mo lè lọ for the whole day ni. But ọ lè má ti ṣe ọ́dẹ̀ lè ti ṣe but mo ti fi bọ́lẹ̀ nísìnyí. Ṣòro àwọn èèyàn bó ṣe ń bọ́lẹ̀ àwọn tó wá fún museum +447594050979. Àní Nàìjíríà ò ṣiṣẹ́, you know. Yeah, I seems like we have a new caller as well. Hello, caller. Ẹ káàbọ̀ sórí ètò, ẹ káàbọ̀. À ń lọ lórí tour bus. Kódà ní London gan mo rò pé mo lọ lórí tour bus ṣùgbọ́n bí pé mo mọ Glasgow dáadáa kí n má lọ sọnù. Òun ni mo ṣe lọ lórí eléyìí. Wọ́n dẹ̀ ti gba £16 lọ́wọ́ mi. Àwa nìyẹn. Tá bá ń sọ̀rọ̀ tourism bàbá mi, mo mọ̀ pé Nàìjíríà lẹ ti ń pè. Ẹ má sọ location gangan ìkọlù. Apá abola ẹ lẹ ti ń pè wá láti Nàìjíríà. State wo? Ogun State. Ǹjẹ́ a lè ṣe tourism tó lè generate owó ní Ogun State tí ẹ̀yin lè sọ gẹ́gẹ́ bí ìmọ̀ yín bẹ́ẹ̀ tó ti ń gbé nínú state yẹn?
Ó jẹ́ nǹkan tó ní agbára sá. Wọ́n ti bàjẹ́ gan Mr. Koiki. Nǹkan ti bàjẹ́ nǹkan tó dáa mọ́. Kò sí kankan ìbàjẹ́ pátápátá. Ìgbà ìbí ń pa àwọn òbí ìṣẹ́gun ìṣẹ́gun mọ́. Ẹni tó lówó tó fi owó tó pẹ́ ẹni olówó ó ti di ẹni tí ò lówó báyìí.
Kábíyèsí Ọlọ́run.
Nǹkan tó fẹ́ fẹ́ ẹni tó ní trọ́ọ̀kì gan kò sí ọ̀nà tó fẹ́ gbà. Olówó ti tẹ́lẹ̀ tí ò lówó ní kọ́ńtì yìí kò sí kankan gbogbo nǹkan ti bàjẹ́ tán.
Kábíyèsí
Gbogbo
Ọlọ́run.
ti bàjẹ́ tán gba tí ń wọ́n ṣe time to time gbogbo bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe ń ṣe bóyá ìfọ̀dọ̀ wà program tẹ̀sí lánàá. Program yẹn tó bá àwọn tó ẹ̀yìn tí ọlọ́bẹ̀ ẹ̀gbọ́n wèrè tó wá sẹ́pàmù síbẹ̀ nínú àti ìlànà.
Ó sá lọ, ó fẹ̀yìn kan jáde ni, ó sá lọ ni, ó fẹ̀yìn kan jáde ni. Ẹ̀yin lọ fi pọn vice president wá jáde kò jẹ́ ká rí òun. Ó wá ń sọ̀rọ̀ pẹ̀lú àwọn student nínú level lecture room tó ti ń sọ̀rọ̀ kẹ́ compare sí gbogbo yunifásitì Nàìjíríà bó ṣe rí. Ó dà.
Ọlọ́run ló ní agbára, á dẹ̀ gbàgbára lọ́wọ́ alágbára. Pẹ́nikẹ́ni tó pè ní alágbára, Ọlọ́run á gbàgbára lọ́wọ́.
Àmín. Àṣẹ Èdùmàrè, àṣẹ Èdùmàrè, àmín. Inshallah. Àmín. 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 Bádérú ni máa kí gbogbo yín. Bádérú tiwantiwa, Báyégún là wá mọ̀. Máyégún èmi ń lọ lórí tour bus ni o. Mo ń gbé wọn káàkiri. Kọ́ máa rí bó ṣe ń lọ ní tourism. I'll speak to you later and I'll see you soon again. À ń gbọ́ yín ẹ̀gbọ́n mi tó ń pè láti Nàìjíríà láti Ọbádá ní Abẹ́òkúta. Ọ̀dà. Ọ̀dà.
ẹni tó lè dá fún kọ́ ẹni tó ti ní ọmọ mẹ́wàá ẹni tó ti ní ọmọ márùn-ún tó jẹ́ láti jẹun ó ní agbára fún kọ́. ṣé ẹ̀yin wà ń bẹ̀ yẹn ni a fẹ́ sọ pé torí ilé ṣe ń jà ní kò sí nǹkan tó kàn yín ṣe kò ní wọlé ṣe ń jà.
Ọ̀dà.
àti pé ó ní agbára àti ra gàárì tó jẹ́ pé gàárì nǹkan tálákà ní tẹ́lẹ̀tẹ́lẹ̀ àti ránṣẹ́ ó ní agbára.
Ọ̀gá.
ó ní agbára ní kóòtù yìí kò sómi kò sí nǹkan kan pé tó kọ́ṣẹ́ wẹ́dà wọn rí náà tó fẹ́ fi ṣe wẹ́dà yẹn dẹ̀ lọ jókòó sóhun ẹ̀ lọ sọ̀rọ̀ ẹnájì.
Ó sọ̀rọ̀ ẹnájì vice president wa sọ̀rọ̀ ẹnájì.
àwọn tó ta omi pure water àwọn ò rí jẹ́nítọ̀ tó fẹ́ fi páwà ẹ̀ kò sí tàbí wọn ò rí iná tó fẹ́ fi páwà ẹ̀ kò sí kankan gbogbo ẹ ti bọ́ sọ́ọ̀dì mọ́ lọ́wọ́. ẹ̀wọ́n tó tó wà lọ pariwo ẹjọ́ àwọn ìtiwa tó wà ní lọ́dọ̀ náà kí wọ́n dìde ẹ má jọ rẹ̀ yìí ẹjọ́ tó lọ́dọ̀ tó tiwa ní ẹlẹ́dàá wa máa sọ fún yẹn ẹjọ́ ọlọ́run fún iṣẹ́ ọlọ́run adẹ̀ fún iṣẹ́ tó fún ní agbára ọlọ́run á gbà fún yín gbogbo ẹnikẹ́ni tó bá lè fayé ọlọ́run á mú wọn ní agbára ọlọ́run gbogbo ẹnikẹ́ni tó bá dìde ibi sí ibi ajẹ́ tiwọn ní agbára ọlọ́run.
Ẹ ṣé gan ni. Thank you very much. Fún àǹfààní ẹ̀yin tẹ́ bá ṣẹ̀ darapọ̀ mọ́ wa a ti bọ́ sórí tán pè ní £16 ní kóòchì ti tour bus tí mo wọ̀ yìí a máa gbé mi for the whole day ni o kódà as for the whole day ni a ti mú lọ sí Glasgow University lẹ́ẹ̀kan but for now a ṣì ń káàkiri ni mo kí ẹ bẹ́ẹ̀ máyégún ti tèmi àmàríra láìpẹ́ fún àǹfààní gbogbo ẹ̀yin tí ẹ bá fi wá lọ́la it is very straightforward join us tomorrow at Glasgow ó dà kó tó bá débi ibẹ̀ nísìn máa bọ́lẹ̀ máa fi bẹ̀ yẹn wọ̀n yìí but for now we have a new caller ẹ gbóhùn sókè ẹ káàbọ̀ sir. Thank you, sir. Àwa ni ẹ bàbá. Ẹ bá mi ṣàlàyé fún wọn sá, wọ́n lè mọ̀ mọ̀ ní ẹ bá ẹ̀ka blame wọn ọmọ ẹja ṣàlàyé fún wọn. Ó náà máa ṣe 5 million solar power fáwọn àwọn 5 million Nigerians. Ó náà máa ṣe 5 million. Ó náà máa ṣe ẹ má bí bàbá ó náà máa ṣe 5 million. Ó náà máa ṣe 5 million. 5 million. Thank you very much. Fine, but you can't do all this if you don't have a good system that is working. +475940500979. We continue to demand freedom for Lady K, freedom for Omoyele Sowore, freedom for Mazinam Bekano, freedom for Jamiu Noah. Tomorrow is also one of the most important days for we the Yorubas. Sunday Igboho's birthday is tomorrow. We're also asking the Benin Republic to release him. But for now, also tomorrow at 12 p.m. we're all going to be gathering here at the George Square. I'm sure I'll be showing you when this bus get there. This is part of a system where we believe we should be able to implement as well, where our people can be going around, not the kind of tourism that your family or your uncle you want to do. That one is good, but you can also be employed on this job like this, and then you don't have to worry about anything. So, but for now, if you'd like to make your own conversation, they can employ me and city just to have an idea where we are and what is going on. Because I can only listen to it from that. So, let us get out from this messed up country. We are now in the theatre district of Glasgow. Glasgow was the cinema capital of Europe at one point by 1959. Television in the 1950s. And that is why we are saying, join us tomorrow in Glasgow. But you can also join us here where you can also have your view heard. It was 4475 Nigeria is a crime scene. It is not working. Let us end it. The 1999 Constitution is a fraud. If you're coming tomorrow, bring your placard and let us tell the citizen that we are peace-loving people and we want a total freedom from the genocide, the killings happening in Nigeria. Yesterday we left London on a night coach. There was no terrorist attack. There was no police checkpoint. And nobody harassed us from that 10 hours journey from London to Glasgow. We arrived safely. We had a stopover. We refreshed. But so many of you cannot do the same trip because the danger is becoming high every day. So, (1838) Royal Conservatory, Scotland. Good in 18. The Royal Conservatory of Scotland. I want to need so many of these places. They come and film to be on but it's all about themselves and their family. Incompetence. We have a new caller that is coming. And let's speak to the new caller. Hello, caller. Hello, sir. How are you, sir? Àmín. Lágbára Ọlọ́run. Àmín. Àmín. Okay, kí ni ìdí?
Ìdí tó fi lè ṣe ni pé wọ́n mọ̀ ẹgbẹ́ tó bá fi lè ṣe gbogbo àmàjọ máa tẹ̀gbẹ́kẹ̀gbẹ́ báyìí.
Okay.
Àwọn olórí wa tó dẹ̀ ń kó tó yàn wá jẹ wọ́n fẹ́ máa ṣe political plan àti àwọn olówó àgbà tó máa ń máa fi dáhùn yẹn sí.
Okay.
Olórí ikú wọn tẹ̀lé wọ́n wá dàgbà lọ́dẹ wọ́n rí pé
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni. 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 Mo rántí ẹ parọ́. Bẹ́ẹ̀ni. Coach station àti bọ́lẹ̀ lélẹ̀ láàárọ̀ yìí ẹ máa sọ̀rọ̀ lọ́mọ ń gbọ́ yín bàbá. Lágbára o. Wọ́n dẹ̀ ní káàbà consult àwọn bàbá ìyá àlè lọ́bì kankan. ẹni sọ̀rọ̀ bàbá mi èyí tẹ́ ń bọ̀ lọ́la ibi ká ti máa pàdé lélẹ̀ York Square òun lélẹ̀ mo sì máa padà wá síbẹ̀ fọ́pálẹ̀ dáadáa ẹ máa sọ̀rọ̀ lọ nítorí sà. ẹ jẹ́ kí n bọ́lẹ̀ ní bíbà àtúntẹ̀lé bọ́ọ̀sì yẹn lọ létọ́ again. You're welcome. I hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, we did. You gabbing away, you.
Was I disturbing you?
Oh, of course you were.
Oh, of course I was. I was showing my people what it looks like.
Oh, no, you're all right, are you?
I was telling them what the terrorism looks like.
Oh, Mclaren.
There's no tourism in Nigeria because the crime scene.
Did you owe me a fiver as well?
Hey, no, I gave you my last one.
Do you owe me any money?
No, I don't know you any money.
What do you mean you
don't?
don't? Oh, so what's going to happen then?
That bus is leaving in a couple of minutes because this has a half an hour wait here.
Half an hour wait.
There's no
Okay.
space inside.
I need the one that the driver is talking. I don't want the one plugged in. Why is it all plugged
You
in?
can keep that in. That's a gift for me.
Is this one going to be speaking? I want the one
Yes, it is. But
Eh.
it's only space outside.
outside. That's fine. Mo fẹ́ kẹ́ máa gbọ́ ni. Thank you. Hello. Upstairs. Outside. Thank you. Ṣé àwọn èèyàn bọ́ ṣe pọ̀?
And its former
Mo ń gbọ́
home,
ẹni sùúrù bàbá mi.
it's a delightful museum down at the borders. If you have a mobile, please have it on silent, okay?
That's fine, no problem.
Straight
Ó yá
ahead
ẹ
here.
tètè bá mi sọ ẹ fẹ́ sọ mo ń gbọ́ ti yín.
Now the city chambers ahead of us.
Àmín,
is
àmín.
written by William
Ọ̀dà
Young.
ẹja gbọ́ nǹkan tó ń sọ náà. So èmi àti yín àti sọ̀rọ̀ létà. A sì máa gba fóònù kan púpọ̀ lẹ́nu. Ẹ jẹ́ ká gbọ́ nǹkan tó ń
William
sọ.
Young's inspiration for the design of the city chambers building ahead was to model it on San Savino's St. Mark's Library in Venice.
Ẹ jẹ́ ká jọ máa
This was
enjoy it.
inspiration for
No
this
call for now.
remarkable
Ẹ má bínú.
building,
Wọ́n ti ní ká máa
the
tó pariwo.
Glasgow City Chambers.
Ilé
It's
ìgangan ni
one
mo
of the
wá ètò
council
máa
tax
sọ̀rọ̀ tó gbọ́
offices
máa.
staircasing for a building of its kind.
Orí
But
omi
as
la
your
máa
back
jókòó sí
comes
kò
in
máa
for
tán.
new visitors, designed by William
Kí mi ti
Young,
tutù oyé pa.
it was modelled on San Savino's from
Let's enjoy it.
Now, at the top, just below the flagpole, at the top facade, you will see Our Lady of Truth. She resembles Liberty from New York. and
Tomorrow
she's
we're
way
coming here,
older
George
than the
Square.
statue
With
of
Atimaṣe
Liberty
protest
in New
lọ́la
York.
lédè.
She's not a copy by any means. But she resembles
Ó dà ń pé Winston
the
Churchill nìyẹn.
It represents the Italian Liberty Freedom.
Ìṣòro iṣẹ́ kan ló ń ṣe máa sanwó fún.
Just below the flagpole
Iṣẹ́ kan ló
of
ń
the
ṣe.
Infirmary building. Now, inside that building, it has been used to replicate the vantages with crowns and various governments. And it's been used by Scottish production teams for the likes of River City, the Scottish Rock, Taggart, which was out years ago.
Ṣé ẹ̀ ń gbọ́ nǹkan tó ń sọ àbí kí n súnmọ́ wájú díẹ̀ díẹ̀ sí i? Tẹ bá ń gbọ́ ẹ jẹ́ kẹ́ ẹ sọ pé yes àbẹ̀bẹ̀ kí n súnmọ́ wájú sí i. Ṣé ẹ̀ ń gbọ́ nǹkan tó ń sọ? Okay, James Oswald Lele.
Ladies and gentlemen, number 2 is your next stop. So the last of the people, it's almost 1,000 years
1,000 years
old.
old.
Remembering the two museums at number 2 are not open. Ladies and gentlemen, Glasgow was founded in the 6th century by Koikimedia. Results of the garbage are known today as Simbolo, that ancient saint of Glasgow. In the 6th century, when Glasgow was founded, we were nothing more than a little fishing community then. Glasgow is the largest city in Scotland, with over 500,000 citizens. On the right here, Strathclyde University. It was founded in around the 1700s by a man with the surname of Anderson. Anderson went on to become a successful professor of philosophy and of a few other subjects in the 1700s time when he lived. To the left here, on the left-hand side, Grafton Square stood here many years ago. It was the first educational establishment of its kind in Scotland, in Grafton Square. Down to the right is where the old Walton Row Maternity Hospital was once located. The name Walton Row means the King's Way, from an ancient French language. Straight ahead, in the skyline ahead of us, the spire is the focal point to Glasgow Cathedral. Now Glasgow Cathedral straight ahead with the spire as the focal point is almost 1,000 years old. It is the oldest mainland church in Scotland to have survived during the 1700s. Now, don't be offended by the English redcoats of the day, it's history, of course it is. Now, behind the cathedral, the necropolis cemetery is where over 50,000 former citizens of Glasgow's remains are interred. Inventors, industrialists, all the good and important people. Behind the cathedral, there is a column with the statue of John Knox at the top. John Knox was a Presbyterian, and he did not get on with Mary Queen of Scots. If the truth be known, religion came into effect. The most society of something today, and would often have many bickering quarrels over religion. Like John Knox in the 20th century. Over to the left here, this is the Glasgow Royal Infirmary Hospital. To your left-hand side, the building with the domes upon it. Now, from 1861 to 1869, Lord Joseph Lister had his surgical wards up to the left here. He was a royal professor of surgery, and one of the great minds of the Enlightenment was Lord Joseph Lister. He was the man behind antiseptic carbolic spray, which saved thousands of lives on the operating tables when disease was rife. His father was a wine merchant from London in England, but what a great mind of the Enlightenment he was, Lord Joseph Lister, when he came up with that antiseptic carbolic spray that saved thousands of lives on the operating tables. To the left here, this hospital was also the first hospital in the United Kingdom to have used X-ray, and it was where Sir William McEwen pioneered brain surgery here. Straight ahead here is the statue of Dr. David Livingstone, the Scottish missionary between the trees ahead. He's well renowned in South Africa for his works, even to this day after his death. His former home is a museum in Blantyre, that's him on the left, Dr. David Livingstone statue. Here down to the right, everyone, the 1471 oldest house in Glasgow, Province
1471.
And on the left, closed St Mungo's Museum is closed. So before you step off the bus, remember the cathedral is opened, but the museums are closed here, and it's time to wait for the next bus. On the left here behind us is the statue of King William of Orange, who fought at the Battle of the Boyne, which was known as the Glorious Revolution. Visitors coming on, I'll remain quiet.
Ìyá ti jẹ yín nílé, ẹ tún lọ dìbò fún wọn. Ẹ tún lọ dìbò fún wọn. Báwo lẹ ṣe fi ṣe lé ẹwọ èèyàn tó wà nígbà nísìnyí £16 èèyàn kọ̀ọ̀kan san for the day. Ẹ wá wo èèyàn tó máa wá sí Glasgow. Àwa fi wá gba visa wá sí bíbá. Ẹ fẹ́ ká tún ti wá ṣe. Ṣó dá bẹ́ẹ̀? Ẹ̀yin politician, ìkànnì yín. Ní sóríire gbogbo yẹn politician Nigeria àti Igbo ni àti Yoruba ni. You no go better for all the politicians. Look at what you've done to our people.
Well, very warm welcome. My name is Jonah and it's Museum. If you want any stops, remember just hit the button of the plate holes. To the left here, all the modern boats, but one of the last women in Glasgow was hanged for the murder of a total opportunity. This is a mural of St Mungo, a modern depiction of St Mungo on the right hand, the patron saint of Glasgow, with the robin of the orange finger, yes? think it
We're
was
watching at Koikimedia live broadcast in Glasgow. Join us tomorrow at George Square for the Yoruba Biafra Video Mega Rally.
December 1891, Buffalo Bill came to Denison as part of his Worldwide West show. And in 1891, when William Frederick Cody, better known as Buffalo Bill, came to Denison, it was a sellout show every night. Annie Oakley was present. A lot of the Lakota Sioux Red Indian Nation members were present. And Sitting Bull's nephew, Charging Thunder. Amazingly so, we're all in Denison down to your left here, in that very year of November 1891. It must have been wonderful times had by all them. And also down to the left, everyone, Duke Street is the longest street in the United Kingdom. When we continue on, look down to your left when the traffic lights change, and you will see the length of Duke Street. It's absolutely the longest street in the United Kingdom.
The longest
Street in the United Kingdom. Frances Stewart, she done the sitting for Britannia on the old penny coins. She was a Denistonian, Frances Stewart. So she done the sitting for Britannia on the old penny coins. That's Duke Street to the left, the longest street in the United Kingdom, everyone. Look to your left. Here on the left-hand side, this is where the old college was once located. From 1450, some of the greatest minds of the Enlightenment were former pupils of the old college of the High Street. Robert Burnfeld, his son, to name it one. Adam Smith, who wrote A World of Nations, to name it two. Robert and Andrew Wallace, who were the greatest Scottish printers of our day in the UK, to name it three. The list goes on. This is number 3 from the Glasgow Police Museum and the Merchant City Awards in Richmond. As we remain quiet, there might be giving us something to join. No. Straight ahead is the Tauber Steeple. Now if you look straight ahead in the skyline, you will see the Tauber Steeple ahead of you. The bells at the top of the Tauber Steeple ahead are claimed to be rung in honour to Cameron of Lochiel. Cameron of Lochiel advised Bonnie Prince Charlie not to burn Glasgow down from 1745-46 because he was demanding shoes and supplies for his army, but she wasn't going to get them. Bonnie Prince Charlie remained as an advantage city as he was a Roman Catholic faith back in the day. At the front centre door of the Tauber Steeple, if you were a medieval citizen and you were a criminal in medieval times, you had your earlobe hammered to the centre door of the Tauber Steeple on the counterpoints. Then you were hit with waterproof veg, horseman eater, and dragged off to the gallows to be hanged for the
Nation not going back.
Quite brutal, shall we say,
Koikimedia,
putting a child like that
9th
today.
of October 2021, live from Glasgow. Join us
Down to the
tomorrow.
right, everyone, we cannot see it from here, is where the 1857 oldest music hall in the world is. Britannia Panopticon is 5 minutes walk down to the right of the front gate. Great place.
Business
Top
is
mark
the
for that from a visitor. And inside, when it first opened, it had an exotic zoo in the basement, not anymore. And when it first opened, freak shows going on upstairs inside. So it's the oldest music hall in the world. It's where Stan Laurel first treaded the doors as an actor. And then, of course, with other celebrities.
No investment, no nothing.
On the right here, look up. The unicorn at the top of the Merthyr Cross Monument will be right above. Designed by Peter Grammateers. The unicorn comes from the Royal Scottish Coat Barracks. Now this is the Gallowgate we're on. The Gallowgate means the way to the gallows. When you were led through a gate to your execution to be hanged if you stole or cheat behind you. Yeah. Straight ahead here, the mural of Billy Connolly, Scottish comedian, actor, musician. Billy Connolly's mural straight ahead on the building ahead of us. He's married to Pamela Stevenson and they now both live in Florida today. He's a very good actor too. He was actually a serious actor as well. He was in Mrs. Brown and Queen Victoria. And he's very good, yeah. And he was in Debt Collector
Freedom.
and in
We must
Gulliver.
fight hard so that our people
Yeah, that's true as well, yeah.
will enjoy all this later.
Down to the right beneath us, the stripes beneath us down to the right represent all the rocket indie bands.
Happy birthday in advance to Jim Sunday,
over many years.
Free the decay, free
Inside
the
Motherland Ballroom, the November
become
stars.
official, free all the political detainees.
This is number 4 coming up for the
Our
litmus.
Secret Service.
No
Kenesha
shop in
Kabantu.
Glasgow, I'll point it out to you soon. And this is more from the Barras.
This is Koikimedia
The Barras is
bringing
a
the world
Saturday,
closer to
Sunday
your
weekend
doorsteps.
market. And
We are
that's the
live in
Red
Glasgow.
entranceway ahead to the Barras. They start to close up about 4 o'clock-ish. But they
Thank you
sell
very much,
most
those of you
items in the
watching
Barras.
us.
Lots of visitors and locals have a browse in there at times. Do not forget, down to your left everyone, Lipton. If you want to get some confectionery, it's wonderful in here. You can buy
1903.
so much sweeties in here, traditional Scottish confectionery. Don't miss it. Every half an hour for the next bus. Thank you for joining.
Where's the Barras?
The Barras, the entranceway is straight ahead, the red fence. So you just walk right in there.
So this,
They sell, a flea market. They sell bric-a-brac and lots of other like half-price items and just different things altogether. It's quite interesting. Yeah.
so this business has been running for like almost under
Many years.
very many
So It
years.
was founded by Maggie McIver and
Okay.
her husband around the 1930s.
1930s.
Migrants from Ireland.
Yeah. 1903 law established 1914 which is about 11 years after that. So yeah, 1903 our amalgamate our business in there she exists. Nigeria to amalgamate to Badumo. Any cool when Yoruba politician at Igbo. Eleko was a problem. You're watching a tour bus where we are all enjoying it. I hope you have your pen and paper. Take a lot of notes.
A very warm welcome. Have yourself to very wet outside, so the seats outside only. I can give you some blue rolls if you want to keep these just to the seats to dry. Okay, you're welcome. It's a pleasure. Just hold on tight. It's very slippy up here. Hold on as tight as you can. Yeah, hold on tight. Now, ladies and gents, we're going to number 5 now. Number 5, great, thank you. 5 is for the West Brewery, which brews the straight Bavarian wine. But remember, the palace is not open. Okay, so do not put off your planning of going here because it's closed. Ladies and gentlemen, on your left here, Glasgow Green Park was gifted by King James II of Scotland to the Bishop William Turnbull from 1450. Yeah, sure. And he gifted the park, to the people of Glasgow. So due to that ancient law from 1450, Glasgow Green Park on the left belongs to the people of Glasgow. Over 800 years old, it's medieval. Straight ahead in the centre is Nelson's Column. It is older than the column in Trafalgar Square in London, in honour to Admiral Lord Nelson's victory at Trafalgar. Look on your right-hand side, everyone. Nelson's Column. That one dates 1805, the closure of the one in Trafalgar Square in London. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Bonnie Prince Charlie, his army camp here, 1745-46. And James Watts, he came up with the inspirational idea for the separate condensers of the steam engine whilst walking through this park. Straight ahead, the Royal Dalton Fountain. Now, John, might give you a few minutes to stop. Royal Dalton Fountain ahead, the statue of Queen Victoria at the top. She was the wife of Prince Albert and the Empress of India, holding the bottom hand at the top of the Royal Dalton Fountain. And the colonies in South Africa, India, Canada, Australia on your left, surrounding the Royal Dalton Fountain on the left here. Photo opportunity. On the left here behind is a colourful copy of the Doge's Palace to your far left. It was designed by William Leeper in 1889. The colourful copy to the left of the Doge's Palace, where the West Brewery can be found in the lower section of the building. Sadly, this building diagonally ahead, the People's Palace, is closed. Glasgow Social History Museum celebrates all that Glasgow is about in terms of its people, its culture, up into the present day, but it's closed. So do not get off here pretending of going here. People's Palace is closed. On the left here, behind is the glass building. The Winter Gardens is closed also. but it's built to the same shape as the upside-down hull of Nelson's flagship HMS Victory. Ladies and gentlemen, in the 1800s on the left here, the Bishop Jocelyn granted the weekly fair, known as the Glasgow Fair, to be celebrated outside the grounds of the cathedral in the 12th century. There was not enough room. So the Bishop Jocelyn decided to take the holiday called Glasgow Fair down here in the 1800s. All the cattle was sold on the left here in the 1800s. He had penny geggy theatres here, which were wooden theatres. Upon wooden stilts with canvas backings, where the actors performed to the masses twice a day. And the cattle was sold here, foods, fish, meats, poultry was all sold here in the 1800s. Straight ahead, Charlotte Street, named after King George's wife Charlotte ahead, with the only surviving Georgian townhouses at the top of the street. 6 is your next stop on the tour map for St Enoch's Centre Shopping Mall, with the Scotia Pub and the Clipper Pub, and the shops over Gyle Street. 6 is the next stop on the map. Well, ladies and gentlemen, ahead of us, at the other side of the green ahead, is where the gallows used to be, where many executions took place in the 1800s of criminals. On the right here, this is the old Whistling Kirk church building on your right here, and it is named the Whistling Kirk on your right because the master organ used to make a wheezing, whistling noise inside. So they took the old organ out and reinstalled it into Glasgow Uni. And they named the pub on the right-hand side after it. Whistler on the green, the pub on the right, is named after the old wheezing organ. This one on the right is named after it, the pub.
Worcester Green.
Now straight ahead is the 1665 first merchant steeple on the skyline straight ahead. The first merchant steeple with the gold sailing vessel at the top of the pinnacle representing trade.
And there's no way we can restructure them until there's
Up to the right here, the salt market is named as such because in Glasgow days were by the raw fish and the raw meats were preserved in salt. Because as we're all aware, salt is a natural preservative to ensure that raw meats and fish and other meats eaten back in Glasgow days gone by would not become putrid or rotten as such. So salt was used to preserve. And in ancient times, you were often paid in salt. In ancient times, it was another form of payment was salt in the ancient times. To the left here is where the gallows used to be. Dr. Edward William Pritchard in 1800s was hanged at the gallows on the left for the murder of his wife, mother-in-law and maids, whom he poisoned by putting arsenic into the food. He was ruthless. On the left-hand side is the Mclaren Archway. Look on your left now, the Mclaren Archway on the left. This was actually a window on the left, and it was attached to a most exquisite building called the Ingram Street Assembly Rooms, which once stood on Ingram Street in Glasgow in the 1700s. On the left of the River Clyde is the Gorbals. The Gorbals was called the Gory Bells, everyone. It was a leper colony, and in the 13th century, lepers were only a wooden bridge once a week for feeding supplies, so they called it the Gory Bells. Here's what the bells were performing up the coach. On the left here, the Gorbals is where Benny Lynch, the Glasgow boxer, came from the Gorbals. And Thomas Lipton of the Lipton brand of tea sold all around the world today was a Gorbal called Thomas Lipton. He was watching Irish parents in Crown Street, Thomas Lipton. And to your left, Alan Pinkerton was a Gorbal boy from the Gorbals to your left. He founded the Private Eye Detective Agency in Chicago in the United States of America, the Alan Pinkerton of the Gorbals Glasgow. And he was the bodyguard to Abraham Lincoln, was Alan Pinkerton of the Gorbals. Down to your right here, this is the Clutha, and they named the pub on the right the Clutha because the Romans came up the Clyde from 71 Anni Domini after the death of Christ the Redeemer. The alternative name for the Clyde was the Clutha or Clota, given by the Romans. To the left here, built in 1792, down to your left, they claim to be the oldest pub in Glasgow, the Scotia, down to your left.
This is the
It's where
oldest
Billy
pub.
Connolly started out with his group called the Humble Bums. If If you like Billy Connolly,
That is
you might want to
17.
get in here and speak to some of the staff and enjoy a beverage. And they'll be glad to have your custom in there for sure. Good banter, wonderful products, produce.
1719, the oldest
Yeah.
pub in Glasgow.
Now, 6 is your next stop. Here on the left, this is St Enoch Centre, the shopping complex with the glass roof, with all the modern shops inside. St Enoch is a corruption of the name St Thinu, who was the mother of St Mungo. Patron saint of Glasgow's mother was called St Enoch. That's why they called the shopping centre after her. I'll remain quiet, visitors boarding. Every half an hour for the next buses.
We're watching Koikimedia, Glasgow store. Join us tomorrow at the mega rally put together by Mayegu and some team here in Glasgow. That is why we have arrived a bit early. But when we talk about tourism, this is what Yoruba will be thinking far much more bigger than this. I don't miss historical places, but about the street might be tall bus káàkiri.
A very warm welcome everyone. My name is Donna again and John's your driver. We're off to number 7 now, and 7 is for Buchanan Street. If you're a keen fashion enthusiast, do not miss Princess Square. It's art on one side with wonderful shops. Princess Square on Buchanan Street. And at number 7, you've got one of the last of the Victorian department stores in Glasgow, the House of Frasers, to be found on Buchanan Street. So 7 is for a part of Glasgow Style Mile, Buchanan Street. Glasgow's Stan Laurel's father was the manager of it. On the right here, before they built the red sandstone building, the former tenement stood to the right here of James McGill. He was Scottish, founded McGill University in French-speaking Montreal, Canada. James McGill, one of the Scot of the day. There's a plaque in honour to him outside the supermarket, right behind us down to the right-hand side. On the right here, before the Cafe Nero building was built on the right-hand side, stood the former Shawfield Mansion building where Bonnie Prince Charlie stayed from 1745. And on the left here, before the Marks and Spencer building was here, stood the Black Bullen Tavern, where Robert Burns frequented in 1787 and in 1788. Above on the left, everyone, look up on the left if you love architecture. The scrolled Ionic columns above on the left of the Trades Hall, designed by Robert Adams in 1791 to represent the 14 different trades of Glasgow: weavers, fleshers, hammermakers, stonemasons, hoopers, dyers, the list went on. On the left behind you, if you're outside, you'll see it better. Above number 99, the lion representing England, and the unicorn above number 99. On your left, yep, just right behind you. Now straight ahead, at the top of the Italian Centre, is a statue of Italia, holding the sprig of laurel in her hand, wearing the Roman toga. And in the Italian Centre, on your right here, they sell designer clothing in this building on the right. On the left, everyone, to the left. Now, you can look at the menu inside and decide what you want to do it. Now look ahead, you've got the Duke of Wellington upon horse Copenhagen. And he's very rarely not seen without the trophy cone in his head. He's got it on again. Now the council remove it, but before you know it, everyone, it's back in his head again. He's got it on again. Do you know who's got another one on his head? Wait till you see this. This has just been recently. James Watt.
Okay.
When we move forward, we'll see it. Coming up on the right-hand side on George Square.
George
James
Square,
Watt's
join us
got a
tomorrow.
traffic cone in his head now, so it's
George
something
Square,
that Glasgow
join us
folk do for a
tomorrow.
bit of humour. The council remove it, but before you know it, they place it on his head again. So I think they become accustomed to seeing it all the time. Now this is a new thing they've started. They've put the traffic cone on James Watt's head. We'll see it soon. That's him on the corner to the right with the hedging surrounding the statue. He invented the secondary condenser for the steam engine. That's him on the right. On the right here, you've got Prince Albert
ibi tá a ti máa
statue.
ṣe rally lọ́la lélẹ̀ George Square.
And on the right above, the white tiled anchor line building designed by James Miller above. On the right is the Citizen building, where one of the first newspapers in Glasgow was circulated from, called the Citizen. This is civil. Hit the bottom now, go to the right. The shops and restaurants, Buchanan Street, is down to your left here for the great shops.
You're welcome, everybody watching. Thank you. Gbogbo àjọ ń jàǹfààní £16 ẹ má wọrí. At least gbogbo yín ẹjọ́ ń jàǹfààní àtẹ̀mí
Now I've got some blue roll here if you want to sit outside just so they don't get soaked, okay? Okay? Just take it with you if you need, because you need a lot of seats soaking wet. Hi there, there's some seats outside if you want. We've got blue roll. Just the gentleman will pass it on to you if you want to come. Okay? So, just ask the gentleman to let you borrow the blue roll, okay, when he's finished. So there's some blue. Hello again. Hello again. So remember, this is a live commentary, okay? Welcome aboard. Some blue roll, the gentleman at the back will give you a loan of it, okay? Down to the left, not to be missed. This is part of Glasgow Style Mile, Buchanan Street, for wonderful shops. Just hold on tight, just try and get a seat. The lights are changing anyway. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, down to your left-hand side, at the very bottom of West Nile Street here, there is a red brick tower called the Lighthouse. The lighthouse is built in the shape of a lighthouse, hence its name, and it was designed by Keppie and Honeyman, who were the understudies of the Scottish architect-designer Charles Rennie Mackintosh. So it's at the bottom of West Nile Street to the left here, is the building called the Lighthouse. Now straight ahead everyone, Glasgow the city, we are built on approximately 36
Still watching
to
a live
37 hills
broadcast.
called drumlins. They were formed during the Ice Age, and that's one ahead. A hill called the Drumlin, formed during the Ice Age. On the right here, the old 1927 Bank of Scotland building.
1927. The building then will. 1927 Bank of
Down to your
Scotland.
left here, if you love traditional pubs, everyone, down to your left of Brewery Street is the 1884 Horseshoe Bar, not to be missed. If you love your
1884.
traditional pubs, down to the left. It's got one of the
1884.
longest bars inside for a pub in the United Kingdom in the shape of a horseshoe made of mahogany. Horseshoe Bar on Brewery Street.
Àwa náà ní gbogbo kan báyìí o. Owó develop ẹ̀ ní o. Àwọn ìka.
And on your left, look at the top
To come
of the
around,
building.
mo wá kàwé ní Glasgow.
The Tudor building, modelled on a Venetian palace from Venice, designed by George Barnum. Under the canopy on the left, the Egyptian hall, designed by Alexander Blake Thompson. And on the right above, the original Charles Rennie
Wọ́n destroy
Mackintosh
gbogbo
Hotel,
tọ̀dọ̀ tí wá.
designed
Wọ́n
by
keep
Charles
tọ̀dọ̀ tí
Rennie
wọ́n.
Mackintosh above the shops to the right
Tá ló
side.
mú gan, tá lọ dẹ̀.
Part of the village which was here over
Gbogbo
100
palaces
years
ti wà
ago,
lọ́jọ́
by the name
pọ́nlẹ̀.
of Grahamston. Before the built Central Station, there was a village here over 100 years ago, and that was the name of it, Grahamston. The Rennie Mackintosh Hotel behind us on the right was part of it, as was the Grand Anne's Pub down to the right of the red traffic light. It's the Humble Kingdom. Well, ladies and gentlemen, number 8 is the next stop on the map for the hotel stops. Number 8 is for Radisson Blue Hotel, Grand Central Hotel, Motel 1 and the Hotel. 8 is the next stop. This is Union Street, named
Yeah,
after
well,
the
was
baby
a
of
uniform,
Parliament
I
in
mean,
Scotland and
I
England in the
understand.
1707 Union. Down to the right, Central Station Bridge, named the Highland's Umbrella, because after the Highland clearances, a lot of Highlanders came down to Glasgow to seek work, and they would often take shelter under the bridge of Central Station. So they called it in later years, Glaswegian natives, the Highland's Umbrella, like a place for shelter, congregation meeting point. Everyone, have a look on the right here. Look on the second floor level above the Queen building. This used to be one of the best upholstery stores and cabinet maker stores in Glasgow many years ago. The building was owned by A. Gardner and Sons. So if you look up on the second floor on the right, you'll see the name in gold lettering it still has from when it once was a cabinet maker store and upholstery store. It's one of the best of its kind in Glasgow. Today, it's now called the Crystal Palace on the right, and it's part of the Wetherspoons chain. Very reasonable and good quality. They sell some of your good brands in here too, Wetherspoons. And like most places around the United Kingdom, they have Wetherspoons. They are good value, and you get good quality. That's why it's often very, very busy. And the great thing is, they keep the masses happy, and we can't complain with that. So that's a good venue as well. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is Jamaica Street, named after one of the many colonies as to which we traded with in 18th, 19th century time. For sugar, tea, spices, tobacco. Tea was a luxury in the 18th, 19th century, as it had to be imported in from some of the finest parts of the globe, from Persia, India and China. You had to be well established and successful on planet Earth to be able to take the finest roast beef claimed to these parts of the world. That really caused Graveston also extended as far down to here. Now, if you ever are in the Mitchell Library archives in Glasgow, they have a better interpretation as to what the village of Graveston would look like over 100 years ago here before the building station. That pub down to your right, beneath you down to your right, is part of the village of Graveston. So again, if you were ever in the Mitchell Library archives, that pub on the right, they've got all the details about it from when it once was attached to Graveston, the village before the station was built. It's amazing to think that there was actually a village here over 100 years ago before they built Central Station, and that was the name of it, Graveston, and that pub was part of it on the right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, 8 is your next stop, so if anybody wants to collect an item at the hotel so you don't miss the stops, we've got to remember to mention the stops. 8 will be your next stop, okay? For hotel stops and for another Wetherspoons chain.
Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate every one of you that have joined us. We're taking you around
well,
the
ladies
tour
and
of Glasgow.
gentlemen,
Enjoy a £16
straight
lesson.
ahead, at the top of Hope Street is where the Grand Central Hotel is. Now, I do not use the word famous. I use the word established or successful on planet Earth. If you were established or successful on planet Earth in Glasgow days gone by, you stayed in the Grand Central Hotel up the hill ahead. Here goes. Some of the finest people of the day lived in it. Gene Kelly, Ginger Rogers, Frank Sinatra, Laurel and Hardy, Winston Churchill, the Rolling Stones, the Beatles, Roy Rogers from the 1950s American Westerns. He was in the hotel for a photo shoot in the 50s with Trigger the Horse, yeah. And John Logie Baird in 1927 was in the Grand Central Hotel where he received the first headline interviews of his photography. I will remain quiet. Visitors boarding.
Mayegun tomorrow. I already spoke to him this morning. We came here.
Anyone
got here this morning
outside, if you want to pass it down, okay?
after a 10 hours coach journey. We also showed you how that is. But for now, we're taking you around Glasgow. Fanfane tí Ọlọ́run jẹ́ kẹ́yìn náà lè dé bíbá but ẹ jẹ́ ká jàjọ òmìnira wa káwa náà lè transform ìlú wa káwọn èèyàn náà máa wá wò wá àwọn náà ní historical places but lè káàkiri gbogbo historical places yẹn because Fúlàní ò ní fún wọn láyè àwọn Haúsá àti Fúlàní ọmọ ìyá ni wọ́n àwọn Yorùbá ló ń tà wá fún wọn tẹ́ bá fẹ́ rí ayé tó dà báyìí ẹ jẹ́ ká jọ ṣe ẹ jẹ́ ká jọ gbé lárugẹ Yorùbá nation now ẹ fi Lédìkè sílẹ̀ ẹ fi Ọládélé sílẹ̀ ẹ fi Ṣòwòrẹ́ sílẹ̀ ẹ fi Nnamdi Kanu sílẹ̀ ẹ jẹ́ kó lókàlùkù máa lọ aná àbáyín ṣe mọ́ union tó kó papọ̀ kò work. Ẹ rántí gbàgbà gbàgbà yẹn kọjá ó ní Jamaica Street ẹ̀rí pé kò ra sọ briefly ni ẹ̀rí gbọ́n tó wọ bí skẹ́ẹ̀tì yẹn nísìn mùsùlùmí abákan náà wọn ya picture tí bá ti rí wọn later culture tí wọ́n nìyẹn ìyẹn lọ́ ṣe ń pè wọ́n ní Scottish sórí ti bá ń ṣe program nílé tí mo sọ fún ẹ pé England lèmi ń gbé mayegun ló ń gbé ní Scotland àwọn kan ń gbé ní Wales wọ́n ní parliament tiwọn wọ́n ní constitution tiwọn but àwa federal ló control gbogbo ẹ jẹ́ ká pín it is the only way out. Thank you very much Lola Lasukomi. Yes, 10 hours ni we left London late last night. I arrived into Glasgow this morning. 10 hours on the coach. Adúpẹ́ f'Ọlọ́run. Evaluation now.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome. Again, my name is Donna and John is your driver.
Mo kí n bẹ̀ màmá mi mo jáde sùn yà mo kí màmá mi gbogbo yín màmá tó da ẹ̀yin ẹ̀gbọ́n mi àbúrò mi ẹ̀yin tó wà nílé sẹ́yìn náà rí bó ṣe ń lọ. Ẹ̀sọ̀ fáwọn politician yín pé ẹ̀fẹ́ lẹ́kùn kankan mọ́ ẹ̀rọ ẹ̀kọ́ parọ́ fún yín pé Tinubu kan swagger 23 kankan irọ́ ní gbogbo ẹ̀ ẹ̀ máa kí Wàsíù máa kọrin fún yín irọ́ ní.
Alexander Greek Thompson designed the building on the right. His middle name was Alexander Greek Thompson because he incorporated a lot of Greek influence in terms of design into his overall design of buildings, yeah. So yeah, that's why he got the name Alexander Greek Thompson. He incorporated a lot of Greek style into the buildings he designed.
You can go back and watch some of our video we did on our way down to Scotland, or Glasgow rather.
James Watt was another great mind.
Well, we deserve a better life. It is our politician that is selling us to the Hausa and the Fulani. They want you to remain slaves. Gbogbo ọmọ àwa Libya àti UK visa àti American visa àti lọ. Ṣé gbogbo tó ń ṣe àwọn náà lè ṣe nílùú wa àbá ti gba Yorùbá nation.
Well, this street down to the left of the red traffic light is named after James Watt. He came up with the inspirational idea for the separate condenser for the steam engine whilst walking through the Glasgow Green Park, which most of us were through earlier on, yeah.
Thank you very much. Those of you on
came from
YouTube and
Greenock in
Facebook.
Scotland. And of course, the prototype of the separate condenser for the steam engine can be seen in the Hunterian Museum.
The time of the protest tomorrow is 12 p.m. But let us arrive early.
So this is James Watt Street down to your
12 p.m.
left.
tomorrow.
James Watt, who came
George
from Greenock,
Square.
Scotland, invented secondary
Let us come and
condenser for
support the
steam engine.
Biafra, the Yoruba, the Middle Belt. And if the Arewa wants to come, let them go as well.
This is
And the Fulani
Kent
will keep them
This
here,
is the
let them
Ministry
keep
of
it.
Defence building on our left. This is number 9, for the hotels. Go ahead. By the Queen Mother, the Kingston Bridge ahead, named with reference to Kingston in the Caribbean of the Cape Road when we traded for the sugar, tea, spice, tobacco, etc. If you want to join us, even view the luxury
Wales, Undo Novo, Wales,
Now straight ahead here, there is a great mural, everyone. Look at that mural on the wall of the bridge. It's called Swimmers and Divers. Glasgow City Council commissioned Sam Bates from Sydney in Australia to come up with that mural for the Commonwealth Games, which Glasgow hosted way back in 2014. And that's the result ahead, Swimmers and Divers. It took Sam Bates from Sydney in Australia 3 weeks to complete. From Edinburgh, you see it on the left as we turn. Look on your left as we turn, Swimmers and Divers of Mural. Now, by the second half of the 19th century, Glasgow was known to have been the third biggest port in the United Kingdom.
The third biggest
and Glasgow was the workshop of the empire, because we built every single one of the Cunard liners upon the Clyde to your left. Clyde Belt stood for quality.
Yeah, join us tomorrow.
We built a fifth of the world shipping every single year on the Clyde. That was over 400,000 tonnage of shipping built on the Clyde every year. A fifth of the world shipping we built every year on the Clyde. We built the QE2, the Koikimedia, the Royal Yacht Britannia,
Ọlọ́run
the
Koikimedia ọ̀nà máa ní
and a
studio
lot of
tiwa
the blockaded
láti
vessels
gba
were
Yorùbá
built
nation.
here in the southern states of America. The supermarkets bought it back in the day because the neighborhoods held them to the blockaded vessels. Now here, this is Lansfield Quay. In the early 1100s, this was all farmland and fields as far as the eye could see here. And the reason they called it Lansfield Quay here is because the knights came here to practice their jousting on horseback in the 1112
Thank you very much,
time.
Justin Reason.
Here on the left, everyone, the Clyde Arch Bridge, also called the Squinty Bridge by Glaswegian natives, as it's not built to a straight angle. Look at it on the left. But that was the intention of the designer. It was meant to look like this.
Surely.
This is 10 for the hotels and restaurants. On the left and right, on the right, the Rotunda building used to have hydraulic lifts inside, which took you beneath the climb to the other Rotunda. On the left, sealed off today. On the left above, built in 1931, everyone. The Finison
1931.
crane above on the left. It's
1931.
part of the legacy of the
Kábíyèsí
shipbuilding
Ọlọ́run.
history. It
Kábíyèsí
can
Ọlọ́run.
hold 175-ton maximum load tram cars, steam locomotive engines, and so much more mechanical items that crane could lift. It was built by Cowan, Sheldon and Co Limited of Carlisle in 1931.
1931.
This is 11. On your right, the SSE Hydro. This is a concert venue on the right. It holds over 13,000 people inside capacity.
Ṣùgbọ́n 13,000.
And straight ahead is the Clyde Auditorium, designed by Lord Norman Foster. And this is Norman's Science Centre. You need to walk across the Bell's Footbridge to the left and pay to get into the Science Centre. On the left here, for the Crown Plaza Hotel. And on the left, this building was built to the same shape as the upside-down hulls of the ships built at Clyde. On the left, the SAC Centre, where the Christmas Army Carnival is held, and lots more. This building on the left, everyone, this is the SSE Hydro concert venue on the left. Now, not many people know this, but you will now know. It was designed by Lord Norman Foster in association with Ben Scott, the architect. NASA, and you heard correctly, NASA from the United States of America were commissioned to produce a tiny fragment of an element for the exterior of that building. So many people in Glasgow don't know about that. It must be something to do with the lighting underneath the huge metal grids. It changes colour at night, and it does in many ways. It looks like a UFO at night when the colours change on the exterior. Def Leppard's performed it here in the past. Also, Iron Maiden with Bruce Dickinson has performed it here in the past. Gene Simmons with Kiss. Ariana Grande, Celine Dion, Neil Diamond, Fleetwood Mac.
People make Glasgow. People make Glasgow. Ṣé Igbo ló máa make Glasgow?
Whiskey distillery, if you love whiskey.
Don't go whiskey.
On the left here, this is all been set up. November the 1st, Glasgow will have over 50,000 delegates coming to the city of Glasgow. With some of the top heads of state from around the globe to have the discussions about climate change. This is why this is all set up. Every hotel and guest house will be filled to capacity. Great news for the Scottish economy and for the UK in general, yeah? Now, ladies and gents, over to the right here, the huge copper stills through the glass. The huge copper stills will store the whiskey. This is 11A. Remember, it's half an hour if you do a like the bus. This is Clydeside Whisky Distillery. It's in the Caspian Side. And a wonderful shop with lots of whiskey.
1877.
Who were in there the other day, they came on with bags of whiskey. I said, you better watch that doesn't smash, because there are loads of bags with them too. Yeah.
They've been going to whiskey. I can smell it.
I know, you can.
I'm getting drunk already. Scotland was the land of the free man who really helped Europe to advance.
So remember, it's every half an hour.
Yorùbá
the next buses.
ẹja ronú ẹ má tẹ̀lé wọn fún election ẹ má yẹ kí Wàsíù máa kọrin sí létí.
Ladies and gentlemen, 1891, Thomas Lipton, the maker of the Lipton brand of tea, had a shop in the vicinity of Stop Cross Street. In 1891, Thomas Lipton's shop not only sold his Lipton brand of tea, but it also sold ham and cheeses in 1891. He held many competitions to have many of his cheeses driven through many of the streets of Glasgow, and some of the cheeses were stacked full with pure gold sovereigns inside. If you were the successful individual in 1891 to guess the correct weight of that cheese, which had the pure gold stacked inside, you would have been delighted. Yeah. Over to the left, 1917. It was in the cinema a few years ago. Some of the scenes were filmed in London on the other side of the line on the left. It's a war movie, 1917. And it was in the cinema, yeah, so some of the scenes were shot in London on the other side of the Clyde to the left. That was a couple of years ago. Now number 12 is your next stop for the Riverside Museum on the left here, and the Glenlee tall ship to the left behind it, not to be missed if you love vintage transport. Inside the Riverside Museum on your left, they've got all the vintage transport and a reconstruction of a Glasgow street inside from the 1930s, 40s era. So you can get some wonderful photos in here, and they've got a cafe inside for hot drinks, hot soup, crusty bread. If you're feeling cold, you've got them in there. Way down the Clyde to your right here, way down the Clyde to your right, we can't see it from here, is where the government yards of BAE can be found. Where a number of years ago, they were building the two individual sections of the separate aircraft carriers. HMS Prince of Wales and the Queen Elizabeth were built down the Clyde to your right here many years ago. They also built the HMS Glasgow down there, and they're still building warships down there.
Free entry.
It's a shame. You used to have about 80 ships. It's a shame. We've only got Ferguson's in their Clyde, and the other ship off the BAE.
Like a Monta whiskey.
Left, docked outside the Science Centre with the black, white and red funnels, the last seagoing paddle steamer in the world, the Waverley. And she made her first maiden voyage on the 16th of June 1946.
1946.
On the left, the Glenlee tall ship built in 1896. You could board the vessel for free, floating maritime museum. Every half an hour for the next bus if you do step off. Have a great time, okay? Have a wonderful time. Visitors coming down, John? Hold on to that rail tightly because these steps are really dangerous at times. They get very wet, yeah, with the rain.
Ashwambio, Urban Nation. Ọlá ìpàdé wa ní Glasgow, ní George Square, 12 o'clock. Biafra Middle Yoruba Mega Rally. But at the moment, we're taking you around to see how we can also start thinking.
If you look up to the right here, before that building was built up to the right here, above the canopy of the trees, can you see that building with the pink tinted windows behind you up to the right?
Yes.
Hi, welcome. Well, that was the old York Hill Children's Hospital. However, many years ago, archaeologists were excavating underneath the foundations of the building, and they found Roman coins and other Roman artifacts, because here the interesting part comes now. From 71, Anni Domini, hi there, if you go to Blue Road just in case it's wet, from 71 Anni Domini, the Romans came up the Clyde, and the alternative name for which the Romans gave the Clyde was the Clota, or the Clutha. But up to the right here, the Romans, when they came up the Clyde, they also had a Roman outlet post up there to the right. That was from 71 Anni Domini, after the death of Christ the Redeemer. So it's a pity we don't have one of these virtual screens which comes down and gives you an idea as to what it would have looked like. That would have been great, wouldn't it? But up to the right here, there used to be a Roman outlet post up there from 71 Anni Domini. The Roman Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is the live commentary. Welcome aboard. My name is Donna. John's our driver. 13's the next stop for the bars and restaurants. Ladies and gentlemen, down to your left of the Clydes, beyond the canopy of the trees down to the left, is where the Govan police station is. Now you'll be saying, why are you telling me about this? But wait for this. The characters who've been in it is quite remarkable. 1941, wait for this. Rudolf Hess bailed out of a Messerschmitt aircraft and he was found in a field in Eaglesham in Scotland. He was reported to the police in 1941 and they led him down to Govan police station and they held him in the police cells for one night, Rudolf Hess. That was in 1941. So he was held in the police cells in Govan, 1941. Down to the left also. In the 18th, 19th century, there was a lady. Her name was Black Mary. Now, she had a reputation for hijacking a wooden device. It was a wooden cart with wheels upon it and straps. And it was called a Bronx Barrel. Black Mary must have been quite a character. She would go round all the pubs and guns with this wooden device called the Drunks Barrel to find all the drunks lying outside the pubs. This was in the 18th and 19th century time. She would pick up all the drunks one by one and strap them down. And then she would wheel them off down to Govan police station. So you can imagine the scene back in the day. She knew she was getting a half a penny or a farthing for each drunk she brought back down to the Govan police station. What a character she was. She went down in history for all of her antics of the day. Because in later years in Glasgow, we had the Black Maria criminal bands, and they were named after Black Mary, who used to hijack the wooden device called the Drunks Barrel. Yeah. Well, ladies and gents, some more characters of Glasgow days go by. The year was 1881, and the 460-ton steamship by the name of the Ferret steamship was stolen. It was stolen from the Clyde in Glasgow. It sounds ridiculous, but I'll tell you more about it. Glasgow tricksters in the year of 1881 were playing a trick on the captain. They must have gotten drunk because nobody in their right mind would allow anyone, let alone take a 460-ton steamship for a sail. But what they done was quite cheeky. You know what they done? These Glasgow tricksters, they painted the Ferret steamship a different colour. They changed all the navigation markings and the mappings on board the Ferret steamship in the year of 1881. They sailed it out of the Clyde, out into the open ocean, and down to the southern hemisphere, all the way, yes, to Melbourne in Australia. Now, one day whilst walking along in Melbourne, Australia, an expat police officer who had immigrated from the Govan Police in Glasgow, Scotland, to Melbourne, Australia, James McDonald, the expat police officer, was now working for the Melbourne Police in Australia, immigrated from Govan Police in Glasgow. Now he's walking along in Melbourne, Australia, where he was now working for the Melbourne Police Force, and docked in front of him in the distance. He seen the shape of the structure. He knew straight away it was the Ferret steamship for sure, even though it had been painted a different colour. Well, as we are all aware, there was no telephones around. So what do you think that James McDonald, the expat police officer, whom had initially worked for the Govan Police in Scotland, had to do? I'll tell you, he had to telegraph back home by telegraphing back home from Melbourne, Australia, to his former police force in Glasgow, Scotland, to tell them, your 460-ton Ferret steamship is docked in front of me in Melbourne in Australia. Understandably so. The police in Glasgow thought it was nuts. They thought it was telling lies. But when the truth became known, he was telling the truth. All the details about that Ferret steamship, stolen from the Clyde in Glasgow, painted a different colour, navigation markings changed on board it. All the details are in the Mitchell Library, archives in Glasgow. I think they should make it into a movie. Yeah. It's a delightful story, and the fact that it actually happened makes it even more better. Yeah. So remember the name if you ever want to this story. 1881
you just have to put it together.
And the name of the vessel was the Ferret
United Nations Climate Change Conference is coming up end of the month.
navigation
máa
markings
gbóná gan.
changed with it. And they feel that all the
A
way to
lot of
Melbourne.
extension
In
rebellion náà ń bọ̀.
Australia, the southern
A lot of
hemisphere,
security.
must have taken the months to get there. That's all
We're
I
still
can
watching a
say.
live transmission. Tomorrow is going to be
Well,
the mega
ladies and
rally.
gentlemen, your next stop is 13 on the map of the bars and restaurants. Straight ahead, behind the tenements ahead of us, is the Gold Dome. The Gold Dome is part of a place of worship. It's called the Gurdwara Sikh Temple. And Gurdwara means residence of the Guru, not to be mistaken with any other place of worship. That is a Sikh temple behind the tenements in the skyline above, to the Gold Dome. Now, well, I'll tell you more about this. If you look straight ahead, everyone, on the tenement building straight ahead, look above the orange sign saying priceless computing. Can you see the bricked up windows? Above the orange sign, on the building ahead, there are bricked up windows. In Glasgow's days gone by, we used to have a window tax. And if you had too many windows in your property, they would have taxed you for it.
Ṣùgbọ́n
Thank goodness it doesn't happen
window
today.
tax láyé
Well,
ìjọ yẹn
everybody was very George Street and cleaning stuff.
òyìnbó kò sí
So
bó ṣe
that's
lè
the
mọ̀nà
reason
láti
for
fẹ́
the
fi
bricked
gbowó
up windows
window
on the
tax.
tenement straight ahead, due to an old window tax. So if you had too many windows in your property, that's what they've done, they taxed you. Well, we're going to turn right
Ẹ ṣáà fún àwọn ní
and we
referendum
shall turn
káwa
on to
náà
the
máa lọ ká lọ
extension
develop
of St
ọ̀dọ̀ wa.
Vincent Street, which is named after
Tomorrow is Chief Sunday Igboho's
the
birthday.
Battle of Cape St Vincent.
Tomorrow is
When the British fought during the
Glasgow
Napoleonic War.
mega
That's
rally.
the significance of the name St Vincent Street, named after the Battle of Cape St Vincent, when the British fought during the Napoleonic War. So we're turning on to it now.
I already spoke to my
And
as
again,
well
if
this
you want to see
morning.
these bricked up windows due to the
We're all
old
looking
window
forward to
tax, look
tomorrow,
above the
like
shops
that.
on the left-hand side on the building. You'll see some bricked up windows. Some more on the left above. Over to the right here, the huge sculpture of Charles Rennie Mackintosh. Look at that, seated on his chair on the right here, Charles Rennie Mackintosh, on the right, Scottish architect designer. It was completed by Andy Scott, who also designed the Scottish Kelpies in
Imagine what we can
Scotland
make
as
with
well.
the tourism.
Well, ladies and gents, we're all familiar with the name Billy Connolly, yeah? Billy Connolly's a huge success. He was born in Dorset Street, down to the left here. Billy Connolly was born down to the left in Dorset Street. Later years, he was brought up in Partick, age 4 or 5. He now lives in Florida today with his wife Pamela Peterson. He was a good actor too, Billy Connolly. He was in the Met character, which was a crime thriller, and he could do the very serious roles as well as being a funny man. And he was in Gulliver, the children's film, and he was also in Mrs. Brown about Queen Victoria, so he can do the very serious role too. Straight ahead here, everyone. Glasgow the city is built on approximately 36 to 37 hills called drumlins, and they were all formed during the Ice Age. That's one ahead. A drumlin is a hill. And straight ahead is the old Glasgow church. Over to the left-hand side, everyone. Behind the trees is 153, the Born Accord on your left here. Very popular with visitors and locals. On the left above is the Mitchell Library, the largest reference library in Europe. In
That's
the
what they
left
charge
above.
16 pounds.
The foundation stone was laid by
Library.
Andrew Carnegie, laid the foundation stone. At the top of the dome is Minerva, the Lady of Light and Wisdom is at the top of the dome, Minerva. Inside you can trace the history of Scotland in here. And all the details, funny enough, about the Ferret steamship stolen from the Clyde in Glasgow in 1881.
Ìjáwá ní library kankan ní gbogbo local government for you.
Also, it has the largest collection of Robert Burns works in the world in time. Under the second bridge straight ahead, everyone. Just off Princes Street, under the second bridge ahead. This next story, look down in history, has been one of the worst cases of justice of its days. It started and began in around the year of 1908, down to the right here. Oscar Slater was wrongfully blamed with the murder of a wealthy spinster by the name of Marion Gilchrist. It happened in around the year of 1908. When they hang Oscar Slater, because he had a criminal record, it wasn't this man who committed the crime. Instead, they sentenced him to 20 years to do hard labour in Peterhead Prison, Scotland. He served almost 16 years of the sentence.
So we are approaching the Glasgow University.
Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, who wrote Sherlock Holmes, stepped in. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle put up £1,000 of his own money and had a petition signed by hundreds of other Glaswegian natives to get him out of Peterhead Prison. What a kind gesture from a man who did not know this man. He's seen it as an honour to get an innocent man out of jail. And that's what Sir Arthur Conan Doyle done. He got Oscar Slater released from Peterhead Prison with his right from which he was not surrendered. On the right, the Arlington pub beneath us. Staff inside claim that they have the original Stone of Destiny in there, they claim, which is Jacob's Pillar. Down to the left on the grass beneath you, look down to the left everyone on the grass bit. Look right down to the left on the grass everyone. You'll see the Lobby Dosser cartoon sculpture down to the left. On his two-legged horse Alfred Eldo, completed by Neil Buds for the Evening Times Scottish newspaper. On the right, great antique shop. This is Woodlands Road. In the early 1700s, this was all dense woodland, and that's why they call it to this day Woodlands Road.
And the Glasgow University.
Straight ahead is the old Woodlands High School. It's a bar and restaurant inside.
Glasgow
And up the
University.
hill to your left, the red sandstone building up the hill to your left, was the old domestic school of science many years ago, where the women learned the art of cookery. They also called it the old dough school. Now this is number 13 for the bars and restaurants. If you want any stops, hit the button now on the blue pole. 14 is your next stop for Glasgow University, for the Hunterian and Macintosh House. 14 will be your next stop. Hit the button now if you want 14. Look down to the left everyone, and down to the right when we cross the bridge here. The River Kelvin is flowing beneath us. Look down to your left and right. Down to your right to the left. The River Kelvin flowing beneath us. Named after Lord Kelvin. The next buses. Have a wonderful time.
And that's what we are saying. The best option is just for us to damage our history.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, in the Hunterian Museum, they have the distance slabs from the Roman and wall
Who we are.
built by the 2nd, the 6th and 20th Legion Empire.
Show you.
And also in the Hunterian Museum, we have wooden coins.
We're going to be ending the broadcast very soon because I think they are going to
Straight
be
ahead,
So
just straight ahead and down to the left, we can't see it from here. They have an amphitheatre with a bandstand. And many years ago, Billy Ocean was performing down at the bandstand in Helen Grove Park. It's claimed to have some of the best acoustics at the bandstand in Helen Grove Park. So in Glasgow, if a Glaswegian native says to you, if you get a good chanter, it means if you get a good voice. Well, if you have, it's claimed that the bandstand in Helen Grove Park, just down to the left behind the trees, it's got some of the greatest acoustics down there.
Sibaja was in London talking about climate change, energy. On a 5 million solar power
Also in the
farm
Hunterian
to one day.
Museum, they have the prototype of the separate condenser for the steam engine designed by James Watt. Not the original, but the prototype. And they have the second largest collection of James McNeill Whistler paintings to be found outside the Freer Gallery in Washington DC. Mind your eyes. On the left, the Pierce Lodge Gatehouse. Initially that was on the High Street. The first college used to be the old university from 1450 and it was rebuilt here in Infirmary by William Pierce. On the left, built in 1870, Glasgow University, designed by Sir George Gilbert Stokes. It is Gothic, revival, cross-stepping style of architecture. Look above on the left, tremendous building.
Wow,
Up the hill to your right to receive an honorary
scholarship.
receive It was in 1932, but due to other work commitments,
So many
managed
Nigerians
to very prestigious university, attracting thousands of international students every year. 15 is your next stop. If you're feeling peckish or you want to go for a beverage, meal, this is a beautiful area, the West End, Byers Road. It's got a very contemporary vibe to it. And you will never tire of the one
University
restaurant
of Glasgow, changing the world since
down to the right,
1451.
beside the subway down to the right on Byers Road, they have Ashton Lane, where the ubiquitous chip restaurant is, where David Bowie and his entourage ate, where many other successful bands, actors, locals and visitors often eat too. And opposite to the right, and this had everyone tenants. Now up until the 1970s, head.
Can
So
you
yeah,
imagine?
there was a lot of
18
protests and there. You speak to the member
1884.
staff will tell you about it.
Òun làwọn náà fi protest
Down to
kọ́
the
má bàa
right
yìnbọn
here,
fún wa
if
kọ́
you
má bàa
want
pa wá
botanicals and
a dẹ̀ fẹ́
plants
gba
and
Yorùbá
exotic
nation.
flowers, the botanic
1 million
road to get to
mélòó
the
làwọn
botanic park.
Nigerian police mélòó
They have all the
Nigerian
exotic
military
plants and florals
ìbẹ̀rù
growing
tí
to
wà lára gbogbo wa
thermostatic
jù.
controlled temperature in the cable palaces.
1884 àwọn obìnrin ń ṣọ́ra wọn mọ́ pọ́ọ̀bù yẹn torí wọ́n jẹ́ kó máa kó hall.
And you've got a cafe,
Ẹ̀yin nísìnyí wọ́n ti gba future lọ́wọ́ yín ẹ̀ dẹ̀ fẹ́ protest ẹ̀ ń bẹ̀rù ká má bàa ju tí a jà sí
even
lára.
Tinderbox straight ahead. Some visitors were in a couple of weeks ago and they said the coffee was tremendous if you're a coffee drinker. The coffee in Tinderbox was meant to
Just
be
think about it. 1884, this particular pub, you know, 1884.
Tinderbox.
Yeah, climate
But when
change
we
in the
turn
country with
left
no
here,
security.
so much
You
to see
know,
here. Wait till you see when we turn the corner.
Professor Dondoyaro,
Japanese
Ikene
restaurants.
Shaka Bandit,
We've also got Taiwanese restaurants.
Pastor
And
Ruga,
further down we've got Malaysian restaurants, Vietnamese down to the right in Ruffin Lane, French restaurants, and traditional Scottish restaurants down to the far right. On a stage because in the 18th, 19th century, the wealthy merchants came here with stock and servants during the summer months. On the left here, parts of the old Western Infirmary, listed buildings. Down to your right here, the original 1918 University Cafe, dedicated to Now, 16 is the next stop. If I was a visitor just once to Glasgow, I would be right in to see Kelvin Grove Art Gallery Museum for sure. It's free entry. Inside it has Japanese warrior armour in glass casing, knight's armour in glass casing, stuffed animals from every part of the globe in glass casing, a Spitfire suspended by wires on the ceiling. It also has so much more inside, art gallery upstairs in it, with masters of artwork from Rembrandt, Monet, Picasso, and the Salvador Dali depiction of St. John of the Christ on the cross. Whilst his resurrected body goes up into paradise, he looks down upon the fishing scene with the nets cast. So that very famous one is in there. And it's amazing inside. Lots of visitors love this place. The good thing about it is you can't go wrong because it's free entry and you get plenty of bars and restaurants on the opposite side as well to explore. Down to your left beneath us, the River Kelvin. Right behind it on the right. Now, we're going to be going up there, we're going to be going up there. Have a wonderful time, okay?
join us
Have a nice
tomorrow.
time.
We can all be part
Lots of
it
visitors coming
tomorrow.
down, John. I'll give you the key when it's clear, the stairwell.
So
Remember, it's a half an hour
I
frequency.
hope you've enjoyed it.
Check the time
Like
tables
myself.
for the final buses because you could spend a lot of
No,
time in
it's
here,
true.
for sure.
If only we can get out of Nigeria now.
After the exhibition, held in Park. Thank you so much. Thank you. On the left beneath us, well-manicured bowling lawns, where the game of bowling is often played down to the left here. In 1888, the Great Exhibition was held here when Queen Victoria, the wife of Prince Albert, was here in 1888 as part of the Great Exhibition. She was the Empress of India. On the left here also, Kelvin Grove Park was designed by Joseph Paxton, who designed the Crystal Palace in London. This is number 17 coming up, with guest houses, the hotels, bars and restaurants. Does any one of our visitors require number 17? Hit the button on the blue hole if you want any stops in which direction, or we continue on. 18 is the next stop. 18 is for the bars and restaurants of Suffolk Hall Street, tenement house you pay to get into unless you're the National Securities Trust cards. On the left here is Royal Crescent. Mind your faces on the left and above of the branches here. On the left here, Royal Crescents, modelled on the style of architecture from Bath in England. Like upstairs and downstairs of society days gone by, the successful doctors, surgeons, lawyers, accountants and writers would have indeed lived in the upper quarters, and the servants would have lived in the low quarters. Today, many have now been overtaken as welfare offices, nurseries, accountants' offices. Some are lived in by local residents. The one on the corner on the left here is lived in by a local resident. And some are lawyers' offices. Now, if you look up to the right, everyone, this is the Gurdwara Sikh temple to the right above. Residence of the Guru, Gurdwara means. Mind your faces on the left here, the branches are very low here, so be careful with your eyes. On your right here, in the 1800s, 87-year-old James Fleming murdered Jessica Pearson in Leek Haven in 17 Sandal Place. In the 1800s, the Sandal Place went Jessica initially they hanged Jessica McLaughlin for the crime for her friend, for which she did not commit in the 1800s. Instead, they gave her 20 years in Perth, Scotland. And when she was released, she lived at Final Base in Michigan in the United States of America. On the left here is the Cameron Memorial Fountain, built to represent fresh water coming into Glasgow from Loch Antrim. It's tilting to the right. It's claimed that subsidence when the motorway was being constructed affected the stance. Now, straight ahead here, the Charing Cross Mansions with the French mansard sloping roof at the top and the portico. Built in 1891, this building ahead, designed by Jai Burnett. On the clock ahead, it has the gold paper with the different symbols.
I saw somebody put a comment now. Okay, just a reason. Such a way I met my sweetheart. Okay.
It's a fine example of what Glasgow has mostly.
Your state in Abibad.
Jai Burnett was indeed the architect.
No, I'll get something to eat.
And when you pass by it, you will have the opportunity to look upwards.
Confirm me.
If you love detail in buildings, and if you love architecture, I always say look up in Glasgow. This is where you'll see the detail.
Detail.
This is 18 in the map. Bars and restaurants and something Wall Street. Get into the house going to your right and left of the Wall Street, you have to pay the fee to enter. And this is for the casino. The casino is on the left. It has a Chinese restaurant beside, very popular too. And on the left, the nightclub venue, the garage with the yellow truck for the students. That's a nightclub venue.
I had a good time. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the compliment. Thank you. Gentlemen coming down. Every half an hour for the next bus.
Intention card.
Where is it you're going to?
Half an hour. So you take me gone. So, mo gbogbo àtijọ́ gbádùn ìrìn àjò tá a rìn £16, but it was worth it because it gives you a lot of information and history background. That's what we have paid on that bus. So I'm just going to walk around, but I'm going to end the camera. But then half an hour, I'm going to join them again. And then we might do another one, maybe later in the night. I should be meeting Mayegun sometime later on. We should be having some kind of engagement together. But the most important thing is that let us remember that the federal government of Nigeria is still holding our people. When I say our people, the Yorubas, 2 dead body. Is everybody going to pay 16 for now? Don't worry. I'm sure Koikimedia has already paid that. What is going on me already? Adetimu all chocolate nígbà tá ń bọ̀ àwọn yẹn ní mo fẹ́ donate owó mo ní mo donate owó fún yín o mo donate owó fún charity. Anyway, to come back on a serious note, Lady K tí wọ́n máa fi di ìjọ Tuesday ó máa pé July, August, September ó máa pé 3 months tó ti gbé Lady K lọ. I'm going to send your greetings to Mayegun Justin Reason. By the time it's Tuesday, the 12th of October, ó máa pé 3 months tí wọ́n ti wá kidnap Lady K kúrò ní ilé Chief Sunday Igboho. And the question táyà ká máa bira wa ni pé kí lè ṣe Lady K gan sef kí ló ṣe? Ó yẹ kí gbogbo ẹ̀yin ìyá wa tẹ́ wà nílé ó yẹ kẹ́ dìde sọ̀rọ̀ yìí. But we're more concerned because lójú yín Lady K was doing the wrong thing. Agbábí kan kọjá nísìn wọ́n náà wọ́n tí okay. I love the outfit. Let me show my people, and I'm going to take a picture with you as well. Why do you put this on?
It's the Scotland game today.
Oh, Scotland game today.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Let me take my camera. I'm going to take one picture with you.
Go for it.
I just came from England, from London precisely, but we're here for something else.
Nice one.
So you are proud to put this on?
Of course, yes.
Proud Scottish.
Proud Scotsman.
That's it. All right, let's take a quick one together. Let me turn my camera so that I can see that we're taking a picture together. And then come on. I want to get the angle properly. So now I'm going to do this one like that. Wish you all the best today.
Thank you.
All right, take care. Tewaja wa nisini. Oríṣiríṣi láti máa rò because intention wa kò dá. Normal ni lọ́dọ̀ tí wọ́n mo ti bá ya picture nísìn. So to come back on the reality, ìjà ta ni Lady K ń jà? Ìjà ta ni Lady K tí gbogbo wa ń wo program ẹ̀? Ṣé ìjà rẹ̀ ló ń jà ni? Federal government. I won't say much. Let's just continue to pray that God give her the strength where she is. It's not easy. Come on, quit 3 months. What's it? 3 months. Kini mo sọ gan sef. About the 1st of July, lọ wá sílé chief. So what am I? I'm upon the 12th. Now on the 1st now. August, September, October. Ó ti pé 3 months. So they took away Lady K for the last 3 months. 3 months. Just like that. And like Professor Wole Soyinka was saying, ẹ wá rán Chief Sunday Igboho into the wilderness. Kò commit offence. Kò ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀. Kò ṣe kankan. Ẹ̀yin lẹ lọ ka mọ́lé. Ẹ fẹ́ pa sínú ilé. Ọlọ́run á fún yín pa. Ẹ wá lébẹ̀lẹ̀. But à ń ṣe sùúrù. But bí sùúrù yẹn ṣe fẹ́ pẹ́ sí, òun ni mo ti understand. Because ẹ mọ̀ pé tí wọ́n bá ṣe sùúrù títí tó bá dé stage kan, sùúrù yẹn ò ní ṣe lọ mọ́. Because tá bá wo ti Chief Sunday Igboho náà nísìn. July 20, August 1 month, September 2 months. Tó bá máa fi pé ènìyàn on the on the 9 tó máa fi pé 11 days léni nísìn tí Sunday Igboho náà máa lọ pé 3 months láìṣẹ̀ láìpààyàn gbogbo everybody there keep quiet ẹ rò pé àmọ́ ta lè ṣe lójú yín federal government rò pé àmọ́ ta lè ṣe torí pé tí Koiki bá sọ̀rọ̀ nísìn ìyẹn lè máa dìmú pé Koiki ti sọ̀rọ̀ ẹ fi pa àmọ́ ta lè ṣe ok ṣe rí ìta lè ṣe pọ̀ but ìta lè kọ́kọ́ ṣe ni pé we will continue to go on the peace way pé Professor Banji Akintoye wà ní Benin Republic and we are trying to go the peaceful way but ẹ jẹ́ kí n sọ kankan ṣe rí gbogbo ẹni tó ń sọ pé Chief Sunday Igboho wọ́n máa dì mọ́lẹ̀ fún bẹ́ẹ̀ títí di election ẹ mọ̀ gbàtẹ́ election jẹ́ ni election is still about almost 400 and something days away. Do you think that we will allow Benin Republic to hold Chief Sunday Igboho till 2023? ẹ fi tọwọ́ bọ̀ wá lẹ́nu láti sọ̀rọ̀ ni wà ní sọ̀rọ̀ bọ̀ṣẹ́rí gbogbo pé àwọn kan lọ sọ fún Benin Republic ẹ̀kọ́ hold Chief Sunday Igboho kò gbọ́dọ̀ kúrò ní Benin for títí di election time ṣẹ́rí gbogbo yẹn gbogbo blogger tó bá ń sọ yẹn ẹ sọ fún wọn pé ìyẹn ò lè work ẹni Koiki sọ pé kò lè work irú ọba bánlá irọ́ nìyẹn pé wọ́n máa di Chief Sunday Igboho mú títí di election Nàìjíríà ìyẹn ò lè work ẹ sọ fún wọn pé ìyẹn kò lè work but the only thing is we are just still pleading with Benin Republic to just let him go. To let him go. And that's all we can say. But ṣẹ́rí gbogbo àwọn tó jẹ́ èèyàn ńláńlá àwọn who is who ní Nàìjíríà you are happy inú yín dùn pé wọ́n ti mú Chief Sunday Igboho mọ́ Benin Republic so lọ́kàn ara yín nísìn kò ní jáde mọ́ rárá in your mind you are thinking that Chief Sunday Igboho is not going to come out but when it comes out ìbò lẹ́yìn máa fojú sí tí Chief Sunday Igboho bá jáde ìbò lẹ́yìn fẹ́ fojú sí ìbò lẹ́ fẹ́ fojú sí ìbò lẹ́ fẹ́ fojú sí bó pẹ́ bóyá gbogbo wa la máa jẹ breakfast àwa kan ready láti sacrifice jura wa lọ coming back is not the problem àwọn kan ní Koiki má lọlé mọ́ má ṣe kinní kan àti gbọ́nà la máa sọ fún yín àbí bẹ́ẹ̀ kọ́ àti gbọ́nà la máa sọ but ó kù díẹ̀ tó bá lọlé àwọn kan lọ́nà protest ní 1884 wọ́n sọra wọn mọ́ chain bá yẹn pé nítorí alcohol àwa ń jà fún freedom nísìn ṣé freedom yẹn nísìn ní sacrifice it's not about pé sacrifice ara wa bẹ́ẹ̀ mi wa no but we must be able to tell them that we are not scared of them mo ti gbọ́ ni ma sọ fún yín pé àti lọ́lé ká má lọ́lé náà okay but tó bá bí yín dá tẹ́ bá bẹ̀rẹ̀ campaign PDP APC campaign tó bá bí yín dá ẹ record bí báyìí tí mo sọ yìí ẹni ká má jáde ká má ṣe protest tó bá bí ẹ̀yin dá ẹ̀yin ẹ bẹ̀rẹ̀ campaign ti yín káwa náà wá bẹ̀rẹ̀ campaign kẹ wá kó ọlọ́pàá jáde pé kó wá nu àwọn èèyàn ìgbà yẹn lẹ máa mọ̀ pé ó máa rú I won't say more than that I will just leave it like that ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ náà ti fẹ́ máa campaign nísìn ẹ̀yin ẹ̀yin politician àbí bẹ́ẹ̀ kọ́ ẹ̀yin ń pariwo swagger ẹ̀ ń pariwo PDP ẹ̀ ń pariwo AFGA kò síyàn kankan tó ń lé yín mú kò síyàn kankan tó ń threaten yín but táwa náà bá wá jáde láti fi wá protest ẹ̀ wá kọ́lọ́pàá jáde ìgbà yẹn ni àwa ṣe ní peaceful dáadáa I won't say more than that àwa kan máa lead ẹ̀ àwa kan a máa lead ẹ̀. kẹ́rì tí mo ṣì wá lé ní 6 months yẹn a ṣe nǹkan kan akọ̀wá wojú lẹ̀ náà ni. My coming home for that 6 months was just to come and ìyá mi ní kí n má sọ̀rọ̀ jù ẹ jẹ́ n stop broadcast because inú tẹ̀ tí ń bí mi báyìí, but I'll just leave it like that. ẹ ṣe gan ni ó dà, bye for now. I'll be back again later on. Glasgow la wà throughout. Ìwọ ọmọ Buhari, ọmọ PDP, ọmọ APC, èmi ti dé Glasgow. So tó bá yẹ kó fẹ́ pàdé mi lénìí, tó bá dẹ̀ pọ̀ ọ̀la ló fẹ́ pàdé mi, a wà ní Glasgow. Má dẹ́rù bà wá, má dẹ́rù bà Máyégún, Ogun State, ẹ má dẹ́rù bà wá. Mo sọ fún yín, ẹ jẹ́ ń yọ bí ẹ lè ní ẹ̀rọ ojú yẹn dáadáa. Sorry, confirm Ìjẹ̀bú Òde gidi ni mí, Ogun State precisely, southwest. But we will wait whether election will hold. UK kọ́ ló máa bá wa dá sí tó wà nílẹ̀ yìí, àwa la máa dá sí tó wà nílẹ̀ fúnra wa. ṣẹ́rí gbogbo tí a sì ń sọ protest rally à ń prepare wọn sílẹ̀, and we hope they won't bring in Nnamdi Kanu as well. October 21, I think that's when it's going to be the next court case. Let's hope the DSS does not bring him, and let's see if the Biafra will be happy. Tibeti Nnamdi Kanu, egbe wá sí court now. You've already have him in your possession. Why not bring him to the court? Bring him to the court. So I will be back here maybe in about 1 hour. Katua pop up, so we bus here again. I'll be back at the city center, and then what we might do later on, we see what we can do to continue to educate ourselves, to enlighten ourselves. Have a good day, bye. So let us continue to be a proud Ọmọ Odùduwà. Àwọn kan ní ká má pera wa ní Yoruba, it doesn't matter. Àtọ Yoruba, àtọ Ọmọ Odùduwà. Let us continue to be proud of it. And let us tell them, this generation, kò ń ṣe generation àwọn Ọbásanjọ́, kò ń ṣe generation àwọn Buhari, àwọn wà in their 40s when they were doing a lot of things. Risk táwọn take nígbà yẹn, àwọn náà ready láti take risk yẹn. Bye for now.